Republican Congressman Tom Price of Georgia, who is also a physician, supports the president in this SCHIP debate. Democratic Congressman Emanuel of Illinois wants to override the veto. They join us from Washington this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Congressman Price, I want to start with you. Few are arguing about whether or not kids should have health care. The president, though, says what? They should not extend to people who make how much money?
No, what we say is that it's important to take care of kids first. As a physician, I appreciate incredibly the importance of having health insurance for children. What we believe is that those up to 200% of the poverty level, about $42,000, ought to be the ones that we take care of first. That's not what the bill does that we voted on in the House. That's the bill that the president vetoed, and we believe that if we sit down together, we'll be able to come up with a program that will work best for the American people.
Congressman Emanuel, is that the problem, is that it doesn't take care of them first?
No, first of all, in fact, the program does take care of all kids who are poor and children of working parents. That is the intended program. That's what it's done. That's why 18 Republican senators joined 51 Democratic senators, and 45 Republicans in the House joined 220 Democrats. This was a bipartisan agreement to solve a problem for parents who work full-time but have no health care with their employer. It takes care of the children of working parents. And that is exactly what it does, and that's why 43 governors have also endorsed this. Unfortunately, Tom Price and the Republican and President Bush are isolated from the real concerns that are facing working parents, which are being forced now to choose between either working or getting health care for their kids. And we don't think they should go on Medicaid. They work full-time, and their kids do not have health care. And this is the right thing, which is why Democrats and Republicans across the country have come together to solve this problem.
Let me ask Congressman Price here a second. There's a brand new piece in the LA Times today, big new study done out in California. It says for a two-income family to live modestly, this is not including the price of health insurance, it costs $70,000. Two incomes in Los Angeles. That sort of reaches beyond even what this bill is talking about.
Sure, but the issue, Harry, isn't about cost. And I know my colleague from Illinois doesn't think that his colleague on the Democrat side, Jim Marshall, doesn't care about kids. And Jim Marshall voted with us on this. The issue isn't about cost. It's about control. It's about who's going to make health care decisions. And as a physician, I understand and appreciate that the more the government gets involved in health care, the less physicians and patients are able to make independent decisions. Now, if you want to talk about taking care of poor kids first, which we ought to do in the state of Illinois, in Congressman Emanuel's state, there are 211,000 kids who are eligible for the current SCHIP program that aren't even signed up. Now, those are the kids that we ought to be working on first, and we ought to make certain that children and their doctors can take care of each other, that they can make those health care decisions.
Go ahead, Congressman.
First of all, two things. This bill has a reform so those kids who are on at-school lunch programs or involved in WIC get automatically enrolled. That's how you get those kids enrolled. Second, which I always find funny, is the President and Tom referred to the Children's Health Insurance Program as excessive spending. Yet Tom himself has voted for over $200 billion for the Iraq War, no questions asked, and yet when it comes to America's kids' health care, he has a lot of questions. Lastly, Governor Perdue, the Republican governor of Georgia, has endorsed what we are doing here, and the reason is because we're solving a big problem in Georgia. 151,000 kids who today don't have health care would get health care in Georgia. This does right by those kids, which is why Governor Perdue
Congressman
supports
Price,
it.
real quick, last word, does the government in the end spend money on what it really wants to spend money on?
Once we sustain this veto, I hope we can sit down together and come up with a program that'll work, and that is to provide health care for kids under 200%, tax credits between 200% and 300%, and state
We've solved the problem.
That's the program.
Now that's all the time we have for this morning. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time to speak with us.